Welcome to our presentation. We are going to talk about phase two. We made six changes in the beer distribution game. Now Mariam will start with her changes.
First of all, I will show in logic general phase. So the beer distribution game is a type of game that contains a supply chain with a multi-method. The beer supply chain consists of retailer, wholesaler, distributor, and lastly a factory. The transfer information about beer orders between stops is 2 days, and the initial inventory at each stop is 50 bottles. So I made two changes, and I will show the page options. So as you can see here, there's game settings options, and there are some functions called via InLogic. One of the functions is placing order, which consists of 11 arguments, which start at 0, as you can see here. Before running the model, arguments and assigned values of arguments can be changed. The first change is that I kept constant, some values also containing 0, and changed the other ones. So as you can see here are my some values, and here is the change values that I made. You can see here on the screen. And there are some graphs. When you look at the graphic, it will use a small set of control points, also called nodes, red points, and a function that generates a curve through those points. As well-known, sublines are used in graphic to represent smooth curves and surfaces. So I will show the first thing that you will see when you run the model here, as you can see. We have four options available in distributor factory, and we have two costs. One of them is storage cost for inventory, and the second one is backlog cost because of out of stocks. So we have inventory here and orders, as you know. I changed the values, and I observed some changes. First of all, changing the data delays suddenly rising order density. The retailer overcomes the order cases thanks to the data that I changed. After a while, the inventory reaches its peak with the finished orders. In this scenario, we change while the orders remain stable, the inventory continues to decrease. Then we have to compare it here, as you can see. And because of out of stock, the backlog cost increases when storage cost decreases compared to previous one. I talked about our retailer. Now I'm gonna say something about wholesaler. If one looks at the data assigned by the system, there's a small fluctuation because of the increasing number of orders, but it is not difficult to deal with the situation. With the data that I assigned, the inventory suddenly resets due to oversupply. See here. Um, so it when it's approached to 100 days, the advantage of that is storage cost increase much more than before. For distributor perspective, inventory value is high rise due to the raised data assignment, and for the factory, lastly, one of the prominent changes is excess inventory and increased storage cost. So we have some statistics here. The first one is balance systems data. And as you can see here, we have inventory and backlog cost, and also total cost for each step, for retailer, for wholesaler, for distributor, and last factory. And when you look at this statistic from change value that I made before, check on here, and we can say that inventory costs have risen thanks to change values from the function called placing order. With the little increment in backlog cost, total cost hits its peak. So I'm going to talk about the second change that I made. And first one is the systems page when you try to run the model, and I can show you. And as you can see here, we all have 2 days, and for delivery it's also 2 days. And lastly, units per day is 20. In timing options, there are some parameters called via any logic. This parameters refers to wholesaler, as you can see here, distributor, factory. It also means that order processing time and delivery time. Furthermore, fetch orders per day option points out the orders completed by the factory. The first change is the number of days related to delivery time and order processing time from 2 to the month. And make this change from here like one. All of them just in one, and this one is just turned to 10. After running the game, after running the game, here and values, and we have this model. So the number of days reduced from 2 and 1 changed the units per day's value according to the number of days. In light of the data obtained, reducing the number of days increases the number of items in inventory even if there are no sales during this period. As the quantity of product increases, the inventory cost increases. Additionally, backlog cost also changes due to the products that are out of stock. The total cost is obtained by adding the inventory and backlog cost. It's difficult to talk about the positive or negative aspects since the selling price of the product and how many units are sold are unknown. According to the result, the cost increases, moreover, customer satisfaction increases as customers can easily access the product. Here, the last prospect that I show you, there's huge difference when it's compared to each other. That's all from my side now. Elena will continue their changes. Mhm.
Alright. The beer distribution game is an educational game used to experience the problems of a supply chain process. It allows us to understand the difficulty of managing a supply chain. It's necessary to take a closer look at the structure. I made two changes. Um, After we click the run button, we can show this page. Um, First, the minimum stock is set at 30 in the game. The change we have made here is to increase the minimum stock of the factor from 30 to 50. Now we will examine the consequences of the changes for the simulation. Like I make these changes. We can show the differences in the slides. I wrote for this for the changes. You can see the change in the minimum stock in the figures above. You can easily change the minimum stock in the game image that appears after running any logic. We can examine the effects of the changes on the supply chain. In two pictures above, it gives us the result after 100 days. From this, we understand that the change in the number of inventories causes a change at the end of 100 days. There are statistics for the changes after the changes. And we can see all the differences all in the analogic page. Differences appear when the minimum stock of the factory is increased from 30 to 50. From the differences between the two results, we can draw the following conclusions. Firstly, we can say that there is a significant reduction in backlog cost. You can see there. Secondly, there seems to be an increase in the storage cost, but it's not as big as the backlog cost. Finally, when I examine the total cost, it seems that the cost of supplier, wholesaler, wholesaler and distributor decreases, while the total cost of the factory increases. The reason for this increase is the increase in factory inventory, but the overall cost has decreased when all players are considered. Now we can continue with alteration. Uh, I examined the change by reducing the initial inventory from 50 to 10. This one I changed this 50 to 10 for all. We can see in the report. Um, As with the first change, the initial inventory status can be changed from the page that appears before the simulation is started. There are differences. In the two pictures above, it gives us the result after 100 days. From this, we understand that the initial inventory change causes the change at the end of 100 days. And there are statistics before the changes, after the changes. You can see the differences. Firstly, there is a significant increase in backlog cost. Secondly, the total cost decreases when initial inventory is reduced to 10 for all players of the game. Finally, we see that the storage cost caused different results for the players when the initial inventory was changed. The total storage cost increases at the end of the game. Now, Sude will continue with her changes.
Hi everyone. The first change is about storage cost and backlog cost. Let's get started with the analogic system. Then it seems that while major or minor changes in storage cost or backlog cost before the model is run do not affect the model. Firstly, I wanna show you this situation when it starts with 1 or 2. As you can see that the system is error or it do not affect something, as you can see that. As you can see that. But when we change it after the model and the per day, shortage or backlog cost per day, it can be 50. As you can see the model, but for example, after the model, the short costs are in the when I change it, and as you can see that this is 553,8900, and backlog cost is 66,350. Now I will show you the changes in the Word page when I made it. As you can see that short when the storage cost per day is 10 and backlog cost is 1. If we the differences between akşam yapamıyorum. After the model is run again, the backlog cost of the factory is 1, while the backlog cost of factory 1,327. When this number is increased to 10, the factory backlog cost increases 10 times. That is becomes 13,027. 70. The second change which I made is NumDay. This is in game settings, under the game settings. Okay. The type of day number is an integer. Its initial value is 0. Therefore, any initial value between 0 and 1 cannot be entered. Let's look at the example 1.7. I made it, and when it's random, as you can see that it is error. That's why it cannot be double or another thing. It must be just an integer. As is known that the beer distribution game is 100 days. When the initial values change, the game is run. The first day is assumed to be value of the day entered, and the model proceeds accordingly. If the initial value 0 and 1 is entered, the model can advance the system. One day doesn't really matter. It can be acceptable. I'm gonna show you when the model is running. Even if this is 101 day, this is also acceptable, as you can see that. But if we change it after the 1, like 2, this is the minimum integer after the game is error. As you can see that. The model always error at the end, even if there is no problem in the operation of the model, because it exists 100 days. Thanks for listening to us. Now our
Chrome.
Yes, in Chrome.
And thanks for listening to us. That's all from us.
That's the page 3 done. Bye.